Welcome to the High Vibe Moms Club, the podcast for ambitious women ready to ditch burnout, diet culture, and mom guilt, so they can feel hot, healthy, and radiant from the inside out. I'm your host, Shannon Getz, and this isn't just another wellness podcast. It's a movement. If you're ready to raise your vibe, reset your health, and step into your most confident self, you're in the right place. Welcome back to another episode of High Vibe Moms Club. Today I am joined by Peter McLaughlin, a hypnosis and subconscious change expert who has spent nearly 2 decades helping people break free from their limiting patterns around self-worth, stress, habits, and just getting that personal transformation. And after surviving leukemia and serving for years as a volunteer EMT and firefighter, Peter developed a deep understanding of the mind-body connection and how unresolved stress patterns can shape the way we think, feel, and live. And in today's conversation, we're going to be diving into subconscious programming, habit formation, identity, all the things that we love to talk about here on the show. So, Peter, I am so excited to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I love the sing song. It makes me want to sing.
Yes, that's me. I kind of sing a little bit of everything. All right, Peter. So for our audience, tell me a little bit more about your story. You've gone through some pretty intense life experiences. What and how did those experiences shape your understanding of healing and that mind-body connection?
Quickly stated, if one is on the wrong path, I believe that there's another part of us, call it our soul, our spirit, our higher self, our superconscious, whatever you want to call it, that has ways of bumping us back on the correct track. And if we're stubborn, then it gets out a spiritual 2x4 and it swings like a baseball bat and hits you in the head. And that's what happened to me. That's what I believe happened to me. Because on the day that I was diagnosed with this rare form of leukemia, I was also diagnosed with Lyme disease.
Wow.
And it took that, particularly the leukemia, because that was all about mortality. And when I asked the doctors how long I had, they said, well, maybe 10 years. And my kids were little at the time. And so that was really a wake up. It was the proverbial wake up call, which I think was its purpose, honestly. And I hadn't really examined my life very carefully prior to that. And afterwards, everything shifted for me. It doesn't for everyone. You know, I'm sure that I had multiple nudges prior to that just weren't as dramatic, and I just ignored them.
Yeah.
So the piece that really stuck with me on my healing path was learning about how naturopathic doctors think. And what they basically think is the reason you're sick is because you have toxins, you have different kinds of poisons in your body, and or you might have a lack of certain kinds of nutrients. And I took on that same belief when it comes to trauma, emotional pain, that most of us are carrying that around. And just like carrying around certain kinds of environmental toxins, you have the capacity to carry a certain amount of that. You have the capacity to detox a certain amount of that. But at a certain point, it tips over and becomes a real problem. And that these things are interconnected with each other. So healing to me is about removing, healing, neutralizing all the above. And obviously, because I'm not a doctor, the part I focus on are the emotional toxins.
Okay. No, I've interviewed quite a few doctors on here, and I've also interviewed people who aren't doctors, but they've helped, tens of thousands of people heal from anywhere from like POTS to different diseases and certain diagnoses just from that mind-body connection. And so in your situation, was there a specific like protocol or method or anything that you learned or kind of like discovered in your own healing process?
Well, I've definitely developed my own process when I work with clients.
Mm-hmm.
And quickly stated, it's probably best described as biography, talking to them. What makes you you? What happened to you in the past, particularly the difficult things in your life, the things that we might call trauma?
Mm-hmm.
The next step is teaching them how to use something called an ideomotor tool.
Mm.
This might be thought of as kinesiology, like muscle testing. So you can ask the body with a strong, weak response whether something is a yes or a no.
Ooh, I've done this. And is this where it's like if you lean forward, it's a yes. If you lean back,
That's
it's a
one
no,
way
or
of
something
doing it
different?
yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, you can lean forward. The naturopath that I worked with would have me hold my arm out at a level to the ground, parallel to the ground.
Okay.
And then she would push on my wrist with one or two fingers. She was like 5'2", and she'd say, resist, my fingers, which was really easy to do. And she'd put different vials in my other hand that I would hold against my chest. And I didn't know what was in those vials.
Mm-hmm.
And she puts vial one in my hand, and my arm, the other arm, remains strong. Easy. It's just one or two fingers. She's a small woman. I'm a tall, big guy. Another vial, same thing. Another vial, same thing. And then the fourth vial, boom, I can't hold the pressure of one or two fingers.
Wow.
That's an example of muscle testing, which is strong, weak. So strong means yes, or the body likes it.
Got
And
it.
weak means there's a problem there. And so she had this really cool way of diagnosing on a physical level where she would be pushing on your wrist while she's pointing at different parts of your body. So she'd point at your brain, she'd point at your eyes, she'd point at your thyroid. She would point at all these parts of your body, and you go strong, 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 strong. And then another part, boom, weak. And then she would investigate that area more deeply. And then she would find the proper remedies for it. So I've taken on the same methodology, but not using muscle testing. You
Okay.
can get to the same answer by using a pendulum,
Mm-hmm.
which is just a piece of string or a chain with something weighted at the bottom of it. And the pendulum is really an amplifier of what your body is already telling you.
Mm.
When you meet somebody and you really like them, or you meet somebody and you really don't like them or really suspicious of them, the reason you know this is because your body's giving you feedback.
Yeah.
You feel comfortable around the people that you like, and you feel uncomfortable around the people that you don't like. That's basically what it is. It's kind of a yes, no.
Mm-hmm.
That's when your body's screaming at you. But the body's always talking to you. Even when you go to put something in your mouth, your body's going to have an opinion about it.
Yeah.
And when I say the body, I'm really saying the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind controls the body.
Mm-hmm.
So by teaching a client how to use this ideomotor tool and calibrating it for them, in other words, how does it move for them for a yes? How does it move for them for a no? We can then, once we've validated that, we can now start asking all kinds of questions, like the migraine headaches that you get every week. Were those caused for the first time, were they created for the first time by a trauma that you suffered earlier in your present life?
Mm.
We're either going to get a yes or a no. If we get a no, we're moving off of that. And then we could ask, is there an organic cause for that?
Mm.
Or are you identifying with someone else who has
Yeah.
this?
Peter, really
And
quick,
then-
I wanted to ask
Yeah.
so it's interesting because you're subconscious, you're not always aware of it. So let's say you ask something about a trauma and, at surface level, my conscious mind, I'm like, no, my childhood was great. But then the subconscious remembers all the things. So is that where it's really able to dial in? And then you're kind of questioning like, wait, what happened when I was a child?
Yeah, precisely. And then you can drill deeper into it. So you could ask, is this something that happened for the first time prior to the age of 10 years old?
Mm-hmm.
No. Prior to the age of 15? Yes. And then you can dial in the exact year. Did this happen indoors or outdoors? Did this happen day or night? Did this happen in the presence of another person? Is that other person a family member? Is it a teacher? Is it a peer? And most often, when you start getting enough pieces of information, someone will go, oh, right, I haven't thought about that in years.
Yeah.
But I remember being called up at the head of the class when I was in the second grade. Teacher asked me to solve a math problem. I couldn't do it. The whole class laughed at me, and the teacher just sat there and looked at me, and I felt this tremendous sense of shame. I felt like I was on the spot, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Once we have the incident, then we can still use the pendulum to figure out a level of acuity. How intense is this trauma in the person's mind? 0 to 10. And we can dial in the exact number. That means if it's like a 0, 1, or 2, okay, there's something there, but it's not worth our time.
Yeah, not worth investing.
If it's an 8, 9, or 10, we've got to deal with this.
Yeah.
And then once we start doing some interventions, we come back to the pendulum to basically ask, did we get it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it still an 8, 9, or 10? Has it moved to a 4? Is it a 0?
Mm-hmm.
And that means we're way more efficient. We don't have to guess. We know when we've resolved something.
And how long does that process typically take if you were able to identify, okay, it's a 9 and it happened sometime in high school? And then how is like the reprogramming that subconscious pattern that every single time you think about this event, you're able to now change that outlook?
Are you asking what tools do we use to do the actual work, to do the processing once we've identified the target?
Yeah, because is it something that happens instantaneous, or is it like, okay, we need to reprogram this over a couple weeks?
Oh,
So kind of
I
the
see what you're
tools
saying.
and the process.
That generally, once you identify a target, you're generally able to resolve that pretty quickly. It could be 30 minutes, it could be 45 minutes, but you're going to get it resolved before the end of the session, unless we're doing that at the very end of the session for some reason. But normally, we're getting that right after the biography.
Okay.
And we're coming up with those targets. Yeah, it is. It's incredible.
Yeah, because there's so many, I'm sure everyone has things deep down that you're like, oh, it wasn't a big deal. Like just one little memory pops into my head when I was a kid and my parents left me at the pog shop. It wasn't until they got home that they realized that I wasn't in the van. And to me, as a kid, I'm like, oh, whatever. But I'm like, oh, is my subconscious mind like, oh, you might get abandoned. So you have to do all these things. So you're not get abandoned. I don't know why that thought just popped in my head, but I remember that one instant.
And is that a theme in your life? Is abandonment a theme? Have you ever been abandoned?
I think in every relationship besides the one that I'm currently in with my husband, I have always been betrayed, not necessarily abandoned, but so I feel like I was always trying so hard to like be loved, to be like the center of attention almost, because I'm like, oh, this way they won't forget about me.
Okay. So this in a session, like if we were working together, this would have come up while we were talking.
Mm-hmm.
And you're delineating a theme, a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
The key question is, when was it created for the first time? Was it that incident when you were left at the shop? Or was it earlier?
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. That was my earliest memory of that ever happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could be that was the incident. It could be earlier than that. It could be a past lifetime.
Wow. Talk about that. How do you know if it's a past lifetime?
Same thing with the pendulum. And then you're holding the pendulum, not me. And so we have you ask the question, once we identify, okay, abandonment is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is a pattern. When was this pattern created for the first time? Was it created for the first time earlier in my present life? If you get a no, we know what it is at that point. But we'll ask the question anyway, was this pattern created in a past lifetime? Yes. You're holding it, not me.
Yeah.
And
is this something you do via Zoom, or it has to be in person?
In person or Zoom, it doesn't matter.
Oh, wow. Interesting. That's amazing.
The other thing about abandonment is that there's ancient wisdom that comes from the Hermetic laws or principles. So these are 7 principles that govern how the universe functions.
Mm.
And one of the laws is called the law of correspondence, and it states, as above, so below, as within, so without. And what that means is everything that you experience on the outside, the good, the bad, and the ugly, is a reflection of what's going on inside of you.
Mm.
We're taught in our culture, if you want to change, if you want something different on the outside, change the outside.
Mm-hmm.
But the solution, the ancient wisdom, is no, you change the inside and then your outside will change. In the same way that you walk in front of a mirror and you don't try to change the mirror.
Yes.
So what this would mean for you is that, but the law would mean that you have been, maybe still are, betraying yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're abandoning yourself in some way.
Oof.
And these experiences are just like showing you over and over again, it's not the outside, it's the inside. Look on the inside. Where am I betraying myself?
Mm-hmm.
Where am I abandoning myself? And where was that created for the first time? That's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
So I have a
session with you.
We can do that. I have a client who, using this same thought process and then using the pendulum, we found that she began doing this in a past lifetime when she was sacrificed to like an Aztec or a Mayan god. This is where she began putting other people and their needs before hers.
Mm-hmm. That's wild. And I think so many of the listeners, they're high achieving mamas. They're trying to do the dang thing every single day while also putting everyone else first. So that's why a lot of them struggle with their own health journeys and change because they're so focused on how can they help everybody else.
Yep. And some of that I think is very natural for mothers. I think that there's inherent biological evolutionary wiring that makes mothers particularly interested in how their offspring are doing and putting their offspring ahead of them. And like anything else, it can go too far, for sure. Yeah. And one of the reframes that I've used with women over the years that really helps them is that if they want their children to behave this way when they have children, keep going. And the answer is always no. You're like, oh, I don't want them getting no sleep every night. I don't want them burning the candle at both ends. I don't want them totally stressed out. Then you must, even if it's for the sake of your children, take care of yourself. Balance things out a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I know that one of the things that you had written to me about what you wanted to talk about was like cravings, self-sabotage, mindless eating, things like that.
Yeah, so one thing that I love about this show is we talk about anything that deals with holistic health. So that can be relationships, that could be, but a lot of it is through emotional eating and cravings and the stress and things that you talked about because of these patterns that maybe we learn from our parents or whatever it may be. And so a lot of women have a hard time breaking those cycles. And we talk about identity and how in order to be the person that makes working out and eating healthy and all the things a normal part of your routine, it's one of those like from the inside out because there's the identity and then there's the beliefs and then there's the habits. And what you kind of talked about in the beginning is you can't change like the result if you still identify as somebody who struggles. So with that kind of subconscious programming and how you talked about with like the pendulum, if there is something in their past where maybe this lifetime or another that they're always putting some like the sacrifice, or is there any sort of pattern that you see working with people where they can break that pattern to start feeling like someone who is worthy, who is deserving, who doesn't abandon themselves?
Well, yeah, yeah. These things are all created at a moment in time.
Yeah.
Now, whether they were created earlier in this life or they were created in a past life, it's almost irrelevant. The idea, though, is that it's not a permanent feature of your eternal existence.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a belief that was created. And we should probably define belief.
Mm-hmm.
We use that word all the time. I never even thought about what it meant, really, other than, oh, it's just something. It's an idea and an emotion that get married to each other.
Yes.
And the idea part of it doesn't have to be correct.
Correct.
It doesn't have to be incorrect. It just has to have an emotion attached to it. And that functions as part of your subconscious programming, just like you have programming that makes your computer operate and function in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And when you find the origin point of this belief, so something happens in the world that I experience, I form a belief around that. Let's say it's something, which it almost always is, something intense. That's usually where we form our beliefs. Mm. And I want to change that. Well, the smartest way of changing that is to go back to the root of it, where it was created in the first place, because the existence of that incident and how it unfolded and how you perceived it is the lifeblood of that pattern. Mm-hmm. And if you neutralize that, or you, better yet, you reverse it, then you've taken all the energy out of that pattern, out of that way of being. And now making a change up at the surface level becomes a lot easier because you're not fighting against this other thing taking you in the other direction.
Mm-hmm. So I've done a lot of studies on like subconscious patterns. I've been to the Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat to work on meditation and the rewiring. I have done nightly meditations as I drift off to bed. I'm listening to those theta to get your brain once you're in theta, and then you start listening to some sort of affirmation or something to help rewire that subconscious pattern. So there's so many different methods. Which one have you found is the most effective? Because I feel like I've been doing all the things and I journal about it and I'm like, what is really my limiting belief? I don't know, because I've been journaling and doing all the things, and it's hard because I don't want to be like, yes, my external reality isn't changing very drastically. So I'm like, so then my internal reality isn't changing. It's like this vicious pattern that I'm like, all right. And then I don't want to be like, oh, there's one method that does it, because it could be unique to everybody.
So are you saying that you've been trying all of these things and you're not getting the results you want?
Yes. And I've tried hypnosis too. I took like a hypnosis class. Oh, what is the woman's name? I've done all these things, and I see that you have experience with hypnosis too. So, and I've had friends who they've hypnotized themselves, for example, to not eat chocolate or to not eat sweets. And then they find themselves like reverting back to eating chocolate and eating the sweets.
All right. I can help with this. I can help with this. In hypnosis, there's a law, and the law is the most powerful emotion always wins. Mm. And if chocolate, let's say, is related to weight, and weight is related to fitting in on a subconscious level, in other words, all my family, they're all heavier. All my friends are heavier. My significant other is heavier. And on a subconscious level, I and all human beings have a desire to fit in. It's part of our survival mechanism. Absolutely. If you've ever been to a black tie event wearing cut-off jeans, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And for person A, it may be something like that. And so the most powerful emotion in that situation isn't, I don't like the way my body looks. I don't like the way it feels. I want to lose weight. Conscious thought. But subconscious is like, it's not safe for you to do that.
That makes
because then
sense.
you'll get kicked out of the tribe.
Yes.
It's not going to let you do it. And you're going to call it self-sabotage. It's not self-sabotage. It's another part of you that is actually trying to protect you.
Mm.
And there's a misalignment between what you consciously want and what the subconscious is up to.
Yes.
And one of the ways I've described this recently is imagine yourself, you, Shannon, you're riding on an elephant.
Okay.
And in this story, in this image, you in your body represent the conscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
And the elephant represents your subconscious mind. And everything's going great. You and the elephant are going in the same direction down the road. Now you, conscious mind, want to turn right and cross a bridge that goes over a river. Elephant doesn't want to go over the river because it's afraid of water.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to go over the river. And you're not strong enough to force the elephant to cross the river. Willpower.
Yes. Yes.
You have to get the elephant aligned with what your conscious desires are.
Mm-hmm.
And the resistance will always have something to do with fear.
Mm-hmm.
And so rather than trying to browbeat yourself into this, it's so much better to figure out what's the fear, what's the block, resolve that block, and now use all of those methods that you talked about. Because the healing path, as far as I'm concerned, is like a coin. There's two sides to it. One side, let's call it the obstacle side. That's the elephant that doesn't want to go over the river. The other side would be the positive programming. That's the journaling. That's the listening to these tapes as you go to sleep at night. That's writing out lists. That's affirmations. That's conventional hypnosis, because conventional hypnosis is put the person in a hypnotic trance, give them the suggestions for the desired outcome. That's it. Done. Hypnotherapy is let's find the block, let's find the obstacle, release that, and then give them the suggestions for the desired outcome.
Yes. More efficient.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm imagining a sailing ship, and it's perfect. Everything is perfect about this ship, and all the sails are filled with air. But you're having trouble sailing because the anchor is deployed, and it's dragging along the seabed.
Rude. Yeah, no, I love that analogy. It makes perfect sense. No, it's so true, because now that I'm thinking about this friend, and yeah, if everybody else in quote unquote the tribe is doing a certain thing, then yeah, you feel left out. You want to make sure you fit in. You want to be part of the tribe. So of course, your mind is like, nope, we're not doing that. And so that's why, yeah, like you were explaining with the elephant analogy too, is why relying on willpower alone, people fail. And for those that are kind of hesitant with like hypnotherapy, and they're like, what is Shannon and Peter talking about? Like, what's going on? Can you talk a little bit more about that, and if somebody feels kind of hesitant about anything like hypnosis related?
Sure. The first thing I like to do is define it, describe what it is,
Mm-hmm.
and then give examples of how you and all of your listeners have actually been in hypnosis multiple times throughout their lives so that they can make that connection for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So the description, the definition is a focused state of concentration where selective thinking is employed. What that means is you're driving home from work and you're thinking about something going on in your relationship. You're thinking about something at work. You're thinking about a movie you saw last night. You pull into your driveway and you cannot remember the last 10 or 15 minutes of driving.
Correct.
This is not early Alzheimer's. You have entered a focused state of concentration where your awareness went from a large aperture of awareness, like looking through a large Palladian glass window, to looking through something the diameter of a straw. That's how tight and intense your focus was in that moment. And because of that, the selective thinking is you're not aware of what's outside the diameter of the straw.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're playing beach volleyball, or you're doing gardening or something. And a day or two later, you're in the shower and you look at your leg and you've got a bruise on your leg the size of a grapefruit. You're like, how did I get that?
Guilty.
you were in hypnosis.
Yeah.
And the pain associated with that was outside the tight diameter of your focus. And so you didn't recognize it, just like you didn't remember or recognize driving consciously.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? And it's the same thing with time. If you're watching a movie and you're completely absorbed in it, that movie can end and you're like, that's 2 hours?
Mm-hmm.
When you're in love, you're sitting there with your beloved looking into each other's eyes. The sun's going down. You're like, wait a minute. What time is it? We've been here 4 hours?
Yes.
That's hypnosis.
Mm-hmm.
And when you enter that state, you feel amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You feel totally relaxed. Time ceases to mean anything to you. And hypnosis is known as a state of hyper learning.
Mm.
This is where children are all the time until they get to the ages of 7, 8, or 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
When we say children are like sponges, that's why we say that.
Yeah, because the prefrontal cortex isn't fully online or something like that, right? Because you're absorbing more than you're filtering.
Yeah. There's an element to the mind called a critical factor or a critical faculty. It basically functions like an executive assistant in a Fortune 100 company. Their job is to keep you and me from talking to the CEO. And the critical factor screens out anything that doesn't agree with what's already in the subconscious mind. This is why it's harder for us to learn something like a new language than it is for a child.
Mm-hmm. So I love brain anatomy and everything because I'm like, okay, the RAS, that's like what filters based on your beliefs. And then you also have the amygdala, which is like the threat system.
Mm-hmm.
And so talk to me a little bit more about what you were saying. What part of the brain, yeah, I love this stuff, where it filters, is that referring to like the RAS filter system of your subconscious beliefs?
In hypnosis, that part of your brain moves out of the way and makes you again kind of like a child, like a sponge. Mm-hmm. This is where you are when you're sleeping at night. Your conscious mind goes offline. Your subconscious mind is still processing everything. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the tracks that I make on my YouTube channel are sleep hypnosis tracks that you can just play in the room while you're sleeping. And the most successful ones are subaudible, meaning the only thing you consciously hear is either the background music or the background nature sounds. Mm-hmm. And the track that has the most views of the 300 pieces of content I have has 3.6 million views. It's a weight loss track.
Oh, wow.
And it's subaudible. And you can go through there and read in the comments the good, the bad, and the ugly, but you can read thousands of people who've lost weight just having that playing in the background.
It's amazing. Yeah, we'll have to share that in the show notes for those listeners that are interested in that.
And the reason it works so well is because there's no conscious resistance. It's going directly into the subconscious. And the people who are the most successful are the people who do it over and over and over and over and over again. If you want to learn to do anything, you have to repeat it multiple times until it becomes an unconscious competence.
Yes.
And for the people for whom they're successful, they probably don't have a massive countervailing fear in there about losing weight. I mean, I do have programming in there about that, but it's still probably the case where either they're able to just, through repetition, override whatever was there, or the track is causing their subconscious mind through repetitive use to process whatever the old fear was. Like some people will write in and they'll complain and they'll say, this gave me a horrible nightmare. Well, there's nothing on there, nothing that would in and of itself create a nightmare. Why is a nightmare being created? Because a part of their mind is being provoked, that is scared, that is holding on. And this thing is coming along, nudging them, saying, no, you're safe to let that go. You're safe to let that go. Here comes the nightmare. And maybe the nightmare is, stop doing this. I'm not comfortable with you losing weight. Or the nightmare might be a metaphor for whatever the block was that was holding them back.
Ooh, I love that perspective because there are times where I have nightmares and I'm like, where did that come from? And
How
it's
often
when
do you
I
have nightmares,
relax.
Shannon?
Not often, but the
Okay.
last 2 evenings I've had the same
The
one.
last 2 evenings
Yeah.
before we met.
Yes.
So I must tell this to you that I've been doing this for 20 years, and it's not everybody, but it's way more than you would imagine, percentage wise, of people that will say something like that to me on our first session or something. Last night, they had this really weird dream or a night, whatever, usually not nightmare, usually some kind of weird dream. And when
Yeah.
we dig into that, it's because, this is my theory, subconscious mind knows they're going to be coming in and there's going to be this opportunity to clear something
Mhm.
up.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's so I can share it.
Okay.
My husband's gonna be like, "Oh, great, what did I do this time?" Because the only times I have nightmares, it's always like my husband cheating on me, my husband leaving me. And it's every partner I've had before my husband has cheated on me, has left me, and he's the only person who's been stuck and been loyal. We've been together for 14 years now. But that, if I do have a nightmare, it's that. It's that he cheated on me, he left me, and now I'm with my 3 kids all by myself.
Okay. So you have an unresolved trauma in your past regarding betrayal, abandonment.
Hmm.
It's just straight up what it is.
Yeah.
And the dream is basically a messenger saying, fix this.
Hmm.
I want you to fix this.
But I'm like, how? He's amazing. I know it's not him, it's
Has
me.
nothing to do with him. Remember, as within, so without.
Yes,
Has nothing to do with him.
it doesn't. It's all me.
Yeah, it's the purpose of pain is to call your attention to something that needs to be addressed, something that needs to be looked at, healed, taken care of, right?
Hmm.
Physical pain, think of that.
Yeah.
Well, that's the purpose of emotional pain.
Hmm.
And if it's repeating, it's screaming at you. You know,
Fix it.
if this were your body, you'd find like a big splinter or something in your toe. You know, you'd feel pain, you'd look at your toe and go, oh my God, there's a big splinter there. I better take that out.
Yes.
It's the same kind of concept. There's a big emotional splinter in your psyche
Hmm.
that you suffered some serious trauma around betrayal.
Hmm.
And it may have been in a past lifetime.
Hmm.
And so your job, let's just say for the sake of argument, it's a past life, which we could determine with a pendulum,
Hmm.
is in a shamanic sense to go on a journey in your consciousness to find a lost and wounded part of you and to rescue her,
Hmm.
to heal her and integrate her with who you are now. Because in a way, she's a fractured part of you.
Hmm. Like how does one even start that journey?
I'm like so itchy, like do it now.
What are you waiting for?
Well, you know, there's something really fast that we could do right now if you want to. It's up to you. That would probably be like 2 or 3 minutes. That might create a little bit of healing, a little bit of movement. It wouldn't be what I would do specifically in session necessarily, but it's a really fast tool called havening, and I
Hmm.
add hypnosis into havening. Do you want to do it?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So I have to first show you the very simple action I'm going to have you do. So I'm going to
Okay.
ask you to use your hands and just tap on your thighs. You're going to be tapping on your thighs, like at this cadence, if you can see my hands.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you
All right.
hear
And
it?
yeah. And now add in eye blinking. Blink your eyes as fast as you can while you're tapping your legs.
I'm like starting to cross my eyes. Why am I
It's
doing
okay.
that?
It's so weird. It's okay. It's designed to be weird. Okay, you got that. Stop. That's going to be your activity,
Okay.
okay? All right. So what I'd like you to do is close your eyes
Okay.
and allow your mind to take you to an incidence of betrayal. Your mind's going to take you right there. And it's happened to you multiple times, but it's going to take you to one in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know when it's done that.
It's done that.
All right. And I'm going to try to ask questions of you that aren't super personal. So in your mind, in this scene, because you're in a scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you indoors or outdoors?
Inside.
Okay. And are you first person or third person? In other words, are you at a distance watching this unfold, or are you in your earlier, younger body?
I am present in my body.
First person.
Yes.
Yep. Are there any colors present?
Yeah, there's just like, can I just say the room or what it looks
Yeah, yeah,
like?
go ahead.
It's a bedroom
Hmm.
and there's like a load of laundry on the ground. I'm next
Hmm.
to a bed and next to a sliding glass door and a dresser.
And are you aware of any colors, or is everything black and white?
The colors brown, green, beige.
Hmm. And then tell me about how your body feels right now as you're going back into the scene. Do you feel any tension? Do you feel
Yeah,
any heaviness?
my chest is like when you're nervous and anxious, like I
Yeah.
just feel like rapid heartbeat.
Yeah. Okay. So you have a rapid heartbeat and you're feeling it mostly in your heart, your chest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about the rest of your body? Your extremities, your stomach, your head, everything normal?
Yeah.
It's all localized to the chest.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Is there any heat or any cooling feelings?
My chest does feel like hot.
Okay. Got it. What about light or heavy? Any light or heavy feelings?
Mm, no.
Okay. And lastly, do you hear anything in your mind's ear? Are there any sounds playing, like a radio in the background, or the voice of another person, or your own voice, or any sounds?
A fan above my head.
Okay, you can hear it kind of whirring or
Like
something.
metal, like
Yep. Perfect. All right. So I'd like you to stand by, and when I say begin, you're going to start that tapping and blinking that we practiced.
okay.
Okay. That's going to go on for 30 seconds. When you have 10 seconds left, I'll say 10 seconds left. You got it?
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
So be in that scene that you described to me in this bedroom where you're first person. You can
Hmm.
hear a fan going above your head. There's green and brown. And you have that feeling in your chest that you have when you're nervous, when you're anxious, like a rapid heartbeat, and it's hot as well. That's what you described. Stand by. Begin tapping and blinking. 10 more seconds. Stop, and with your eyes closed, I'd like you to take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it all go slowly through the mouth. Good. Now just breathe normally. Take a moment to feel yourself safe inside your own body, in your home to home. And now take your mind back to the scene you described to me and tell me if anything about that scene, including how your body feels, has changed.
Yeah, I'm more relaxed.
Uh-huh. On a percentage basis, are you like 20% more relaxed, 100% more relaxed, 50%? Where are you?
Probably about 60 to 80%.
That's amazing. Think about that for a second. In 30 seconds, you got 60 to 80% calmer.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll call that 70. Okay. Are you still first person in your younger body?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And what about that hot feeling that was in your chest? Is it cooler? Gone. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are the main colors still green and brown?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Do you still have the whirring of the fan above you?
No.
Okay.
That's
Are there
weird.
any other sounds now that weren't present before?
Um, no.
Is the scene as clear to you as it was before or clearer?
Clearer.
Hmm. Perfect. I'm going to have you do this one again, picking up where you left off. So this is the new reality, what you just described to me now. You know how your body's feeling. Same 30 seconds. This time I'm going to be speaking, but you can completely ignore everything I say and just focus on the tapping and blinking. Okay?
Okay.
All right, stand by. Begin. All of that is over, finished, done, and completed. And you are safe. The proof of it is you're here in the present. You're here now, which means you survived all of that. Not only did you survive, but you thrived. You met somebody so much better for you. You have 3 children. You hit this one out of the park. And what that means is it's safe for you to let that incident and everything it represents to let it go, because you are safe, and you can hear in your own mind perhaps your own voice saying, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. I am safe to let it all go now. I am safe to move forward with confidence into the future. I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. All of that is over, finished, done, and completed. Stop, deep breath in. Let it all go. Good, now just breathe normally. Take your mind back to that scene. Tell me if anything else has changed.
I'm seeing more yellow.
Good. Yellow is associated with happiness, sunny optimism.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. And are you seeing the yellow as like paint on a wall, or are you seeing it more like light filtering into the room?
More like light filtering into the room.
Uh-huh. Perfect. Good. And how about those feelings that you were having in your chest, rapid heartbeat, stress and anxiety? That was 70% better the last time. Where is it now?
I don't feel it at all.
Okay, so you feel completely calm,
Yeah.
which again is incredible. How fast we were able to help you get there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Are you still first person in your younger body?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And are you still in the same position you were in when we started this? Standing, sitting down, whatever.
No, I was sitting like folding laundry. Now I'm standing up.
Uh-huh. Good. And any sounds?
Uh, no, I don't hear any sounds.
Okay, perfect. So let's stop it right there because, in interest of time, you can open your eyes. And now what I'd like you to do is just with your eyes open, talking to me, take your mind back to that incident and tell me if you have a different relationship to it or if it's the same as it always was.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I felt kind of like stuck,
Mm-hmm.
like with that frustration and that fear and that anxiety. And now I'm like, bye.
Good, good. Yeah, this is called havening, and it's a tool that I use all the time because it's so fast and it's unbelievably effective. And then I've adapted it to add hypnosis into it. So while you're tapping and blinking, you are actually in a hypnotic state. The moment you vividly imagine anything, even before you started the tapping and blinking, you were entering hypnosis because I was asking you to vividly imagine something.
Yeah.
The tapping and blinking just enhances all of that. And that means that anything that I say is going directly into your subconscious mind. And I'm instructing your subconscious mind and using logic with it that all of that's over. You survived it. The proof of you surviving it is you're here now.
Yeah.
Look at how much better your life is now than it was then.
Absolutely.
Well, you see what I mean? You
Yeah.
consciously knew all of that, but your subconscious was still holding on to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a very quick example of how you can reprocess a trauma. And if we had been doing a real session, we would have had you use a pendulum to begin with and
Mm-hmm.
identify what the level of acuity of that scene was.
Mm.
Let's say that it was a 9. I
Yeah.
guarantee you that now that thing is probably a 2
Yeah.
or a 0.
Absolutely.
And that would mean we're done with that one.
Yes. Amazing. See
And
you
the
never.
cool thing about the subconscious is that it's an associating making mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
So now it will go to work and say, okay, what else is like that incident?
Mm-hmm.
And it'll say that other one that was a 10, if this one was a 9 and now it's a 2, the one that was a 10 must be like a 3.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that's a 7 must be a 0. It'll
Yeah.
do that over the next 72 hours. It'll start to do the associating making thing.
Ooh, that is amazing. I like that.
Yes, yes. And these are the things that are probably, it's probably something around abandonment
Mm-hmm.
and betrayal that has you blocked using the Dispenza tools. Because the tools themselves are great. But if
Mm-hmm.
there's a more powerful emotion, it's going to be like, nope, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
You know, I really, really want to go scuba diving. I want to go scuba diving. But the subconscious says, no, there's a shark in there.
Yeah.
We're not going in there when the shark is there. That's the fear. And as soon as you can get the shark out of the picture, it's like, yeah, boom, in the water, no problem.
Yeah.
So let's say that I'm just going to make this up because I don't know, but
Yeah.
it'll help to illustrate it. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that what you want to achieve by doing all of the journaling and all this other the affirmations is financial. It's building your business up to a certain point and make a certain amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, for the sake of argument, shall we, that in a past lifetime you were murdered for your
Mm-hmm.
money
Oof.
by someone who loved you or said they loved you,
Mm-hmm.
business partner or a family member. And now your subconscious mind is like, no, it's dangerous to have money because
Mm-hmm.
if you have it, you get killed. We're not
Yeah.
going to let you do that. That's the shark in the water.
Yeah.
You got to fix that before the subconscious will say, yeah, the road is wide open. We'll let you go. Go right ahead.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Yeah.
we're not afraid that something really bad is going to happen to you based upon an earlier incident.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Oh, that's so good, Peter. Yeah. So good. Oh my gosh, I've absolutely loved this session. We don't go this long and I love it. But now I'm like, okay, how do we tie this up in a neat little bow? I'm gonna ask you 2 more questions.
Sure.
So one more, and then I'll probably message you later so we could talk deeper. But for the tie back to our listeners, for the busy mama listening right now, what are 2 or 3 simple ways that she can start rewiring her subconscious patterns in her everyday life to live that healthiest, happiest version of herself?
I think it's really important. Well, let me give a quote. Carl Jung, the famous Swiss psychologist, love this guy. He said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate.
Mm. Oof.
So if you have, and I'm going to say you do, I'm just going to say, if you have a significant trauma around betrayal,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it's a past life. It could be earlier in this life, but I'm just going to say that. If you have that, that up until now has been unconscious and it's been running your life. You're like, how come it doesn't work when I do all this journaling? How come it doesn't work when I try this, when I try that? I work really hard. I'm a diligent person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been ruling your life because it's been unconscious. So the first step is to bring the unconscious into consciousness. And the best way to do that is when you see patterns. So for you, it's been betrayal. All those relationships prior to your current husband all involve betrayal. It still comes up in your dreams,
Mm-hmm.
right? So making note of that. What are the repeating patterns for me? I think that's a big, important step for systemic change.
Yes.
And then at a more, let's call it a surface level, let's say you've got a person out there that wants to lose weight. I would suggest that you find a channel on YouTube that you resonate with. Hopefully it's mine, but it doesn't have to be. And start putting on sleep hypnosis tracks for weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
And stick with it for a month. Just play it in the background. Play it softly in the background for a month. If you're folding clothes or you're doing dishes or you're doing work on your computer, have it playing in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? See what happens for a month.
Yes.
That alone may help you to start gaining mastery and control over something that heretofore has eluded you, because you're putting seeds in your subconscious mind for the desired outcome.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So those are the two pieces of advice. The first one is to begin recognizing patterns. Journal about that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even start writing, where do I think this may have come from?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one would be start listening to subaudible tracks. Just have them playing in the background, because you don't need to carve any time out. You sleep anyway.
Exactly.
You do the dishes anyway, probably. You do the laundry anyway. You probably work on your computer anyway. You watch TV anyway. Have it playing in the background, just very softly.
Mm-hmm.
But stick with it for at least 30 days and then make an assessment. Is this working for me?
Mm-hmm.
If it is, do more of it. If it isn't, it just means there's some deeper block in there in your subconscious mind saying it's not safe for me to do this thing. Make more money, lose the weight, feel calmer and more relaxed, sleep better.
So good. Yes. Thank you, Peter.
One other tip I want to give you is I mentioned before how people are in hypnosis when they're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go into one of your children, if you go into their room at night, if you sit next to one of them who might be struggling with something and you just speak to them softly while they're sleeping, they'll absorb it all.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
And the only rule is you have to speak in the positive. You can't use the negative clause.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You can't say something like, you don't hit your sister anymore, because that'll be processed as, I hit my sister.
Yeah.
But if you speak to them while they're sleeping, that'll go right in. So if one of them is struggling with English or math or something, you could just sit there and say, you are really gifted when it comes to math.
Yes.
It comes easier and easier to you all the time. It starts to surprise you how easily the formulas and remembering how to solve problems comes. That kind of thing.
Oh, I love that. Yes. And so now I want to ask, how can our listeners connect with you, learn more about your work? I know you mentioned YouTube, and we can link anything else in the show notes.
It would be my website, which is blueskyhypnosis.com, if they want to get in touch with me. And then the YouTube channel is also Blue Sky Hypnosis.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Peter. And I know we're like at the hour, so that's why I'm like wrapping it up. And I want to respect your time. So thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
I know that the listeners will love every bit of it.
I hope so. I hope so.